suck. You ever say that to yourself? You're not alone. I don't think there's a saxophone player alive, or musician for that matter, who hasn't uttered that exact phrase in frustration. It doesn't matter if you've been playing for a week or 50 years. It doesn't matter if you only play for your granny or if you've won Grammys. Sorry. You get my point. In this video, I'd like to share with you my thoughts on how we can turn these moments around and use them to propel ourselves forward rather than make us want to give it all up. I've got 7 items of truth for you in this video, and I promise if you watch the whole thing through, you're gonna head into the practice room feeling a little bit more inspired, a little bit more motivated. If so, drop me a comment below and one of these. Let's begin. Number 1, think of the process of learning music as a life journey. It's long and it's got its ups and downs. I sometimes watch videos by Graham Stephan. He's a YouTuber with a popular channel about personal finance. Go check it out. But in one of his videos, he talks about the value of investing small amounts of money consistently over long periods of time versus trying to get rich quick. And while watching this, it occurred to me that this is exactly like the process of learning music. If you want to one day be a great player, i.e. wealthy, you've got to make your small investments consistently over a long time, or in other words, practice every day. In the case of money, compound interest can pay big dividends over the course of years and decades. Same thing with music. Daily, consistent practice over a long period of time is the only real way to get meaningful results. Those with the patience to invest consistently over time are going to reap the benefits, while those who are trying to get rich quick or take shortcuts to musical greatness are destined for failure and disappointment. Number 2, just as there will always be people with more money than you, there will always be people who are better players than you. Don't be envious of them. Instead, draw inspiration from what is possible with consistent practice. If you could ask whatever sax player you think is the best in the entire world, they would tell you, guaranteed, they've got a list of people they draw inspiration from. My point here is that it's okay to compare yourself to your peers or your heroes, but don't beat yourself up for not sounding like them. Even your heroes have heroes, and everyone gets frustrated with their playing from time to time. Number 3, manage expectations. Accept wherever you are in the journey and work forward from there. I can remember a time when every solo I took, I expected to sound like one of my musical heroes, and then was really disappointed when whatever came out of my horn was just me. As if, without putting in the necessary work, in that moment, I was going to magically rise to some level of expertise far beyond my ability. Once I learned to accept my own limitations and instead try to play the best version of me with each performance, not only did things start sounding a lot better, but I stopped beating myself up for not meeting impossible expectations. Number 4, bad performances. Bad performances can be psychologically devastating, as you may have already experienced, but guess what? All great musicians have had them, and they will attest that those experiences were a crucial part of their musical growth. Just like successful entrepreneurs will tell you they learned more from their failures than their successes. I encourage you to embrace these awkward experiences, since they are literally necessary stepping stones to improvement. If you have failed miserably on stage, learn from that experience and make a big comeback at the next available opportunity. Bad practice sessions are equally important and necessary, and you're also likely to have a lot more of them. Now, while a practice session where you're constantly saying, "I suck," can be very frustrating, it's actually a sign of progress. Don't get discouraged. Instead, be brutally honest with yourself. record your own playing and analyze it and ask yourself, what are the specific things I am unhappy with? Is it my sound? Is it my rhythm and time feel? Is it that I'm not able to memorize something properly or execute a written passage on sheet music? Whatever it is, identify the elements and isolate them. So in future practice sessions, work on one thing at a time, solve one problem at a time with the goal of incrementally improving each area. Number 5, trying to do too much too fast. In my experience, trying to do too much in too short a period of time just leads to unsatisfactory results. It's unfortunately how most people practice, though, myself included. I have found that by thinking long-term, big picture, of each practice session is just a drop in the bucket, I've actually managed to accelerate my musical growth compared to when I would just get in the practice room and try to get as good as I could in 2 hours. This ties directly into my first point about comparing yourself to other musicians. If you're in a hurry to sound like someone else, you're going to inevitably just sabotage your own progress by looking for shortcuts. Number 6 is information overload. There's just so much information out there, so many things to learn. It can be intimidating and overwhelming. So first realize no one can ever learn it all. Just ask someone like Herbie Hancock, one of our greatest musical geniuses of our time, and he'll tell you that he's still trying to learn new things every day. So rather than trying to cram it all in, choose one thing at a time and learn it well. Move on to new material when it feels right or you get bored. Revisit old material again and again in the future as it makes sense to do so. Just keep filling your bucket one drop at a time. Number 7 is the comfort zone. You always want to be practicing just outside of your comfort zone. If everything you practice is super easy, you're going to get bored and the growth is going to stagnate. If we work on material that is too difficult, we're going to get frustrated and likely start developing some bad habits. So you want to search for the Goldilocks zone, the place where what you're practicing is challenging, you're learning new stuff, but you're still able to have fun and enjoy yourself. Also learn how to make adjustments to the material you're working on so that it's always moving forward as your Goldilocks zone moves up. Please let me know in the comments section below which one of these 7 items you need to work on the most, and then get yourself in the practice room and get started. It's really easy to make mistakes. Do you know how easy it was to film that intro for once? Like, play something moderately difficult and mess up. I mean, I got it every single take.